So I write a lot of stories, and every so often I get feedback on them. Once online, someone sent me a message telling me I was taking diversity a bit too far, and I would like to address that today. The claim was that I was making my characters black or disabled or gay for no reason, and that it's hurting the story, and it's hurting the cause of the people who I'm trying to represent in my story. The feedback was for a story that was so closely based off of my life that it was basically just my life. None of my characters were there for no reason. My mom is Asian and she happens to be blind. My youngest brother is half black and some of my friends are gay. So I wrote them as they were because that's what I knew how to write when I wrote that story. I didn't write them that way to make my story more diverse or more representative of minorities. I just told the truth about my life. The thing is, though, I don't think diversity in fiction can go too far. See, when you assume that a character who is different than you or that represents a minority weakens the narrative just because they exist in the story, what you're doing is revealing an awful thing about yourself. You reveal that you can't imagine that these people who are different than you have backstories and lives and thoughts the same way that you do. I mean, really, what's the reason for making a character white? What's the reason for making a character straight? What's the reason for making a character abled? What's the reason for making a character neurotypical or cis? I've never had to give an explanation for any of that when I write, and I don't think anybody else ever has either, because it's all immediately assumed of whatever person you write. I can guarantee you the only reason anyone ever makes it into a story is because a writer decided that they needed to be there. When a character is like you, and when they meet your expectations, it's easy to extend empathy to them. It's easy to imagine that they've had a life full of events and thoughts and ideals that somehow led them into where they are now and into the particular place in the story you're reading. But when a character is different, when diversity enters a story, a lot of people start saying that the character is forced when they wouldn't have been any different if they were white or abled or straight. Your empathy doesn't extend to them because you can't accept that certain events led them into the story, because you don't grant them the kind of life that you have. You don't grant them the complexity of a human being. To quote Diaz, people will read a book that's 1/3 Elvish, but put 2 sentences in Spanish and they think we're taking over. Empathy is linked to imagination. And we can and do relate to hobbits and wizards, aliens and demigods. The choice not to relate to someone because they're black or gay or female or trans or disabled is a choice to shut off both your imagination and your empathy. The problem was never with my story. The problem was never with any story. The problem's with you. Although I did eventually delete that story because there were lots of other problems in it, like the revealing of my life. Anyways, leave a comment telling me your favorite book character and what makes them unique. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!